Hello and welcome to the Society with Fatima Shaheen at PTV World. The World Health Organization reports that globally over 1.3 million people have lost their lives annually, that too due to road traffic accidents. In Pakistan, of course, we have seen off and on that there has been a growing surge of road accidents too in this regard, more particularly with cases of underage driving coming forward, with that of careless driving also coming forward too. In this regard, then it's very important to sit back and analyze that when we do talk about such incidents, what are the root causes of the same? And this is something upon which we'll be shedding light today. We'll not only be doing that, but in addition to that, we'll also be talking about the effectiveness of law enforcement as it does stand in the Pakistani society. We'll also be talking about the need for there to be proper rehabilitation when it comes to actually covering the plight of road accident survivors, and then of course also ensuring the fact that people do get timely access to emergency services too. Having said that, we'll also be talking about this with regards to the international perspective, more particularly trying to delve on the fact that when we do talk about Pakistan's international commitments, what have they been and how effective have we as a state been in actually complying with the same. All of this today, that too with an extremely relevant panel. Let me introduce you to my today's panel. My first panelist for today's show is Ms. Sana Khurshid, who is a road accident survivor, and she's also a road safety ambassador for an organization. Assalamu alaikum ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Alongside her, I have SSP Captain retired Mustansir Firoz Saab, who is the former Chief Traffic Officer of Lahore. Assalamu alaikum sir, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And my third panelist for today's show is Ms. Deeba Shahnaz, who is the Head Community Safety and Information, Rescue 1122 Punjab. Assalamu alaikum ji, and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum Pakistan, and thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome. Now, before we start the conversation on today's show, let's have a look at this brief report.
Pakistan, a country with diverse landscapes, a rapidly increasing population and growing urbanization rate, faces significant challenges in ensuring road safety and efficient traffic management. With an expanding network of roads, especially in busy city areas, there is a need for a robust traffic management and road safety framework. Pakistan, like many developing nations, grapples with the high rates of road accidents and fatalities. Just recently, an underage driver driving without license caused a vehicular collision in Lahore's defense area, killing 6 members from the same family. In response, Punjab government and the Lahore High Court ordered city traffic police to carry out a crackdown against all underage drivers and those driving without license. Thousands have been arrested and many vehicles impounded. Senior police officials have stated there are 7.3 million registered vehicles in Lahore, but only 1.3 million people with valid driving licenses. Senior Rescue 1122 officials have stated that an accident occurs every 1.2 minutes in Punjab, and 80% accidents are associated with motorbikes. Factors such as inadequate road infrastructure, lack of public awareness, non-compliance with traffic rules and reckless driving contribute to the precarious state of road safety in Pakistan. Overcrowded roads, poorly maintained vehicles and insufficient pedestrian facilities exacerbate the risks, making it imperative to address these issues comprehensively. Strengthening traffic law enforcement, expanding traffic monitoring technology, launching comprehensive public awareness campaigns to educate citizens about traffic rules, safe driving practices and pedestrian rights are vital in improving road safety in Pakistan. This will pave way for safer roads, reduce accidents and create a more secure and efficient transportation system.
Welcome back from the report. Now to get the conversation started with you, Sana, if you were to take you back in time, that is year 2002 when this incident actually happened with you, how would you recount the same? And today, if you were to then look back, what do you feel could have been possibly different so as to prevent this very incident from happening in the first place?
Looking back in hindsight, I mean, a driver was not properly trained. The tire of a car burst, and instead of him just letting the car go at in high speed, he just applied the brakes, as a result of which our car toppled over a couple of times, and I mean, I lost my elder sister in that accident. The driver himself was unscratched. He didn't have a single injury. Looking back, the things that could have been different, I mean, Rescue 1122 was not established by back then, unfortunately. And the way I was evacuated from the car, I mean, I remember I was in and out of consciousness, but I remember being pushed and shoved out of the car and pulled out, and I was made to walk, which obviously I couldn't because I hurt my spine at the cervical level. And I was made to lie down on the side of the road till an ambulance arrived. And I remember the ambulance that arrived was so ill-equipped. It was just a car with a stretcher in it.
So it was not just one thing, it was a combination of different factors, from there being lack of proper care post your accident to there being carelessness on part of the driver too. But sir, coming towards you here, we must talk about the very root causes of such increasing number of road traffic accidents. Now we do understand that definitely this is something which is extremely complex and definitely by that virtue very multifaceted too. But if you were to identify the core root causes of the same, what would those be in your opinion?
The first of all, I think the core reason of accidents in our society is carelessness, and that too because of the complacency of either drivers or the road users, may it be a driver or a passenger. In this specific case, in which an underage driver who was not capable of driving a vehicle, he was driving a car at 110 km per hour, and he hit a car which was being driven at 20 km per hour, and he just smashed the whole family. In this case, I think the kid was at fault, but his parents were also at fault.
True.
Like, why would a parent allow a small kid to drive a vehicle at such high speed? And he told,
that too unmonitored.
Yes, unmonitored. And that too he told that he was driving the car since last 1 year. So he was saved due to God's mercy.
Yes.
And second most reason that I find most prevalent in our society is the lack of traffic sense and education. You see, traffic is the most important component of our lives. Everybody, whether we travel from home to work or work to home or to any place, we have to use a road.
Of course.
But education or specifically traffic education is not part of any curriculum.
That's so true.
Not in any of the classes, anything about the road traffic sense is taught.
That's so true, because you see, we have seen very positive developments happening in the school curriculum. We have seen chapters on animal welfare being added. Then, of course, domestic violence, I remember, for a one had been added quite a few years ago. So definitely this is something that we need to work upon. Coming towards you, Wasiba, here we must talk about this, that too from the practical viewpoint. Sir has very rightly so, very comprehensively mentioned the causes of such growing trend of cases. But when it comes to practically helping such people out, we all understand the fact that that 1 hour post the accident, that is supposed to be that golden hour. When it comes to taking such people to the hospitals and ensuring that they, yes, do get timely medical interventions, how easy or how difficult is it to do the same?
Thank you very much. We can take example of the Sana case. At that time, there was no emergency service and there was no emergency number you can call and get the people to transport professionally and give first aid at the spot to make the effects, minimize the effects of that accident. Post-crash response is one of the road safety pillar of United Nations road safety. If we need, we all are the signatory of the international forums and we have to reduce 50% road traffic crashes till 2030. Keeping in view, we should have the strong post-crash response. Although it's very traumatic and very difficult to handle the situation, because every year, every day and every year, the numbers are increasing, and every day, you know, not every day, I will tell you every minute, 1 minute and 20 seconds, we are dealing one accident. You can feel those are the young breadwinners.
On which I'll come to you, Sana, and I would want you to comment on this further. So when we do talk about reducing road traffic accidents, we also understand the fact that yes, we do have to give due consideration to socio-economic inequalities in this regard too. So when it comes to delving upon this issue from a socio-economic lens, how do you feel can we do away with those inequities so as to ensure that yes, everybody gets that equal access to emergency services?
Yes, you're right. Basic, the response for any trauma, tragedy or disaster, everybody has a right for the equal protection. And I think as a nation we need to make some policies on that. A lot of work needs to be done on road safety, because we need to understand that road safety is something that affects us on a day-to-day basis.
Of course.
It's not something that we can take lightly.
By some reports actually categorized to be one of the leading cause of deaths that way too. And I think you would want to agree to what she's saying, because because by that virtue we also understand that Rescue 1122 is primarily working in Punjab, but what about the other provinces then here? So you see there is definitely a divide there too.
Yes, the system is being replicated in other provinces, but that is the basic human right, I would say, that must be established, because whenever any accident happens, immediate responders play a vital role to reduce and to minimize the mortality rate. And second thing is this, in policy there are a lot of things which need to be incorporated, like level-wise education, as sir has already highlighted, road sense, how you will develop. It will be developed from the grassroots level, then you will take it as it's a crime when you are doing one wheeling and when you are the overspeeding and
you're not wearing a helmet per se. Sir, I would want you to comment on this further. So when we do talk about not one, rather various issues which are related to road safety, or one which would also be driving on the road, that too with a proper driving license, or for that matter not complying strictly with the given road signs. So in cases like these, what is the protocol of the police then to actually stop such cases and also to ensure that yes, such people are actually put to task?
You know, first and the foremost, I would like to put on a statistic. In year 2022, last year, 484 people lost their lives in Lahore due to road accidents. This is according to 1122 data. Whereas the people who are killed in murder incidents, which we take as very heinous offence, is 479. So traffic accident is the #1 reason in Lahore due to which people are losing their lives. And secondly, to prevent accidents, we have multifarious strategies. Like we work very closely with Rescue 1122, who identify hotspots, who identify the reasons, that whether it's a engineering flaw on the road, whether it's something to do with road engineering or road infrastructure, some addition is required, some signage is required, or whether deployment is required. We have identified 100 hotspots in the Lahore, because almost 80,000 accidents have taken place in this year as well, in which 365 people lost their lives.
So the statistics keep on rising. So, but what happens in cases where we see people are moving from one province to the other? So what happens? How can you go after them? Because they would say that yes, they have the driving license of another province, but when they move that province, then would it equally apply there?
Yes, province of any district or any province is
that would not
equally
be
valid all over the country. It's not an issue. But a person should have a valid driving license, and he should have passed the requisite tests. And his vehicle, if it's a passenger vehicle, whether it's goods transport or public transport, they should have fitness certificate. So if these criteria are met, then there is no issue of any movement of any vehicle all across Pakistan.
And that we presume, sir, need to be revised off and on, basically, the fitness certificate, because it's not a lifetime document.
Yes, it's not lifetime. It's revised every year. The Government of Punjab has established a very elaborate system known as VIX, Vehicle Inspection and Certification System.
Exactly.
The vehicles are tested in a scientific manner, and they are issued fitness certificate. All those vehicles who fail the test are not allowed to play on roads. And this also has to do with smog, the catastrophe that we face every year.
And you see, in this regard, then traffic congestion is something which is also adding to all these accidents too. So if we are ensure road safety, then one of the solutions could also be promoting sustainable transportation too.
Yes, Government of Punjab is working on it, that now the government will not buy any fuel bikes any further. They'll purchase electric bikes just to promote sustainable environment and to promote electric bike culture in the country. And they are also working very closely with various fuel companies, because petroleum distribution companies, to ensure that Euro 5, which is nationally acceptable standard fuel, is brought in Pakistan, because still we are working on Euro 2 and Euro 3, which has more carbon emissions. And they are also working very closely to bring all those vehicles which were earlier not in the parameters of VIX, like private vehicles. If a person owns a car, they don't need to have a fitness certificate. But now they are bringing them into ambit of law, just to ensure that every vehicle remains mechanically fit, has less emissions, so that it does not contribute to smog and to deteriorating health of other people.
Right, and this is extremely important. And also in this regard, we also remember that there were all these cycling momentums in Lahore quite a few years ago by all these environmentalists actually leading it, which is something very positive. This is something which definitely needs to be encouraged, because world over we do see this trend. On which I'll come to you, Sana, and here we must talk about the mental health cost, which of course road traffic accidents do bring with them, because a lot of times we as a society perhaps are too focused focused upon the physical injuries or the fatalities which do occur in that sense. So when we do talk about addressing this, that too from the perspective of mental health, how important is it not only for the road accident survivor themselves but also for their respective families to be given timely medical interventions in this regard?
And I think mental health is not given the importance that it deserves. It should be part of the physical recovery. I wish during my rehabilitation they had included counseling as well, therapy as well, because there's a lot of unaddressed trauma.
But this was in UK.
Initially I was here,
okay,
and then I went to the UK, and of course then I had the privilege of comparing, because I know how it works out in the West, and it's a totally different view of what they, how they deal with the patient, because they show you options over there. They tell you your life has not ended. They give you the solutions. In Pakistan, unfortunately, we just focus on the problems. No solutions are given, but on a positive note, it has improved a lot. But still, I think mental health does not get the priority that it deserves.
Right.
The physical injury is not possible without you being mentally strong.
And you see, when we talk about the impact that it does have on your mental health, has a longer lasting effect on you, because that is something which perhaps might stay with you for the rest of your life if you don't come out of that trauma. And in this regard, we also need to ensure then that the healthcare system, that is also more accessible for people, and it is more affordable by that yardstick too. So coming towards you, when we do talk about road traffic accidents, one thing that we all understand is the fact that when it comes to our Pakistani traffic laws, the laws are very clear, they're very stringent, they are in fact strict in that regard too. But why do you feel there is lack of implementation of the same? Is it just to do with our societal attitudes, or you feel that here greater checks and balances should also be placed on the police per se, so as to ensure that yes, they are doing what they have to do?
This has to, has to be linked with initial thing that I said, that we lack basic traffic education sense and road safety sense. You see, our ordinary user on the road, he is not aware of basic signs which are installed on the roads. One. Second, recklessness and carelessness is taken as a matter of pride. It's our culture that we, drifting, racing and all such things, which are otherwise, an evil for the society, they're taken as a matter of pride.
Which is very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. We have one of the best system installed in Lahore. Like we have safe city cameras. There are 7,000 cameras which are monitoring city live. We have 1,200 ANPR cameras which capture traffic violations, and each alarms are issued. We have 129 traffic signals which are digitally monitored, and according to density of traffic, they adjust their timings so that traffic congestion doesn't take place. We have around 300 wardens who are performing duties on road. But it is basically the lack of education and this culture of power which prevails in our society, which forces people to break laws.
And also, sir, in this regard, if I may add, that culture or that mindset of complacency, because a lot of times we come across people who very openly violate the traffic laws and traffic rules, and they feel that yes, they can very easily get away with it by talking to the traffic warden, or for that matter, exercising some kind of an influence or so. On which I'll come to you, madam, and here we must talk about the concept of first aid, which of course is extremely necessary, because we have seen that there has been time and again concerns being placed on teaching people basic CPR. So in this regard, if an objective bystander actually comes across such a road accident and they in their goodwill do want to save somebody's life, so what are the tips that you want to give to people out there, that how can they do it, that too remaining within the realm of keeping themselves safe?
Very important question, and community must know in case of such accidents where you have very less time to help, what you should do. First of all, you should know what are the emergency services working in that area, and you should know their number, and immediately, without telling your friends and family, you should call to the emergency service, so they will take time to come. And when till the time they reach at the incident site, you should be able to help. And how you will help? You can provide CPR if you are trained, and you can control the massive bleeding. And how you will do that? For that, in Punjab at least, I would say that Prime Minister Park Lifesaver program is started, in which only two techniques are being given, that is the CPR and bleeding control, because maximum deaths in road traffic crashes are due to these two reasons. If you are learning these two essential life-saving skills, you can save life. And the one who save one life, I think, save the whole humanity.
Of course. And in this regard also, you could very intelligently document the entire incident, because if this is a potential crime, if it is a premeditated crime, then you can actually save people. You can help the police that way too, because now we have that power of a cell phone, of social media too.
You are very right. And we are, that's why, as sir already quoted the data of the rescue 1122, we are using the IT-based techniques and hotspot identification, in which areas we are getting more accident every day, and we are tried to highlight at the district level and then at the province level, and whatever at the community level. We have started community education program as well. And it's very important to provide evidence-based recommendation to the policymakers and to the concerned organization to prevent, because as far as I told you, over 1,100 accidents we are responding on daily basis in Punjab, and out of it, if you will see what kind of vehicle is involved, and you will find out that 80% road traffic victims are associated with motorbikes.
83%. I was reading this report,
over 80%.
So, but one question, I think this really relates to what she is saying here, that when we do talk about such accidents, is there any database, is there any registry where we have records of all these underage drivers or anybody who is violating traffic rules and regulations anyway? So that there's an easy point that you can go back to, and that of course helps in the entire investigation process.
You see, just like Rescue 1122, in the safe city we have a very elaborate call center which not only documents each and every call but also conducts its analysis. We conduct our analysis independently as well as in collaboration with Rescue 1122 to identify hotspots, one. Number two, to identify the core reasons. As ma'am has rightly explained, that out of all the accidents, almost 83% accidents take place due to motorbike riders. And out of those 83, 66% suffer head injuries, and most of the deaths are caused by head injuries. This is why precisely we started the helmet campaign.
Exactly.
And you see, besides the fact that we have challaned almost 2.2 million motorbike riders, there are 4.4 in Lahore, so every second person has been challaned once. But still you see a sort of complacency.
There's still lack of compliance.
Lack of compliance and complacency, because people feel that it as a disgrace to wear the helmet. Whereas in any of the civilized country, you cannot just imagine to ride a bike without.
Which is why you see, even if you make a comparison, sir, in developing countries, we do see that the ratio of road traffic accidents, that is way more. Here we must talk about your work, that too as road traffic accident survivor and leading very important awareness and advocacy campaigns in this regard too. So in your first-hand interactions with road users, be it drivers or any other person, how cognizant, how aware do you find the average Pakistani to be when it comes to knowing about the road traffic laws and regulations?
See, I think I'm very privileged to be a part of a leading OMC that takes road safety very, very seriously. It's one of their main priorities. They believe in, and they believe in a proactive approach. They don't just wait for an accident to happen to take action. They're very mindful of the safety of their drivers, and they deal with truck and lorry drivers. And with the kind of work that I've done with them has been to directly be in touch, to talk to the drivers directly, to make them realize that the things that they're always hammered about, the policies and the rules that are made, are basically made to save their lives. Because you need to understand that road safety is just not a slogan. It's a reality.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It's a reality. It's a lived reality. And who knows better than me of the consequences that a road traffic accident has on your life. It's life altering. So the thing is that I think it's cliched, but awareness is the key for to make sure that accidents are not just reduced, that they are prevented. And that's what we do. We talk to drivers directly, online, wherever we can. Have been all over Punjab, a lot of places. We have been in direct contact with drivers. We have like active sessions, and
But do you not feel here that the media also needs to take a very important lead in this entire movement? Yes, of course, you are doing your bit, that too as road accident survivor, but then what about the media per se? Media, as we all see, is talking about so many other social issues, be it the electronic media, be it the print media, or for that matter even the social media here. So how about greater collaboration to make all these movements perhaps more impactful? Because the power of the media, of course, that is something that we all cannot ignore.
So I think there's a personal responsibility on each and every one of us. I mean, just taking the recent incident that happened, that tragic incident that happened. I mean, the parents need to be very aware and careful. They need to realize and they need to ensure that the kids follow rules. You just cannot break rules because the consequences are fatal, like we just saw. So use each and every platform to spread awareness, and I think the basic responsibility starts from us as individuals, that what are we doing to contribute to make sure that everybody is safe, that everybody goes home safe.
That's very rightly put by yourself. But sir, I would want you to comment on this further, because we all understand that when we do talk about ensuring that yes, we do have road safety, what is very important then is to also of course ensure the fact that we do have effective and very well coordinated collaborations in this regard too, that too between all the relevant stakeholders. So what kind of collaborations are we looking for if we are striving to reduce the number of road accidents?
Rescue 1122, police and TPA, Traffic Engineering Prevention Agency, they collaborated and we identified those 100 hotspots in which most of the accidents were taking place, and we took remedial measures like if a speed breaker was to be installed, cat eyes were to be installed, signage was to be installed, so to prevent more accidents on the same spot.
Right.
This was a great collaboration and great policy response, and extension of such response to all other areas would definitely save precious lives. But one important thing, as ma'am has mentioned, taking the example of the recent defense incident in which due to carelessness of one kid, a whole family was vanished.
It goes back then to effective law implementation and then also publicizing those cases so that there is an element of deterrence in the society. Even if you were to take Saudi Arabia's example that way, one of the reasons why they have such a low crime rate is because there is deterrence, and deterrence is only set when you ensure that yes, there is certainty of punishment that way. Madam, would you want to add to that?
Yes, I am involved in community safety since 2006. And in these 18 years, what I learned, because I spent time in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, and then in Lahore, what I felt that education is no doubt very important. You must educate people about the road safety, but at the same time, if there is not strict implementation of your laws and no punishment, then this will not happen. Because you can take example Rawalpindi and Islamabad. You can take example motorways and cities. There you will see the how behavior is totally changed. What's the reason behind? There are the punishments and the things are being
of course, and in this regard also it comes with a lot of other societal issues too, like we see that people, they might be consuming drugs and then they might be hitting the road, so it involves not just one crime, then there is so many other
crimes are associated with it. And internationally, if you will see the data of the road traffic crashes, you will find out that carelessness is the main reason. Now the time is bring change in the behaviors. This is very important. We are taking it very light. We need to collaborate on it. Behavior change will actually, will it come with the enforcement? Will it come with the education? Will it come with something else? Through the media, and through media or social media, we need to figure out all these things, and then...
Madam, if I may interrupt, I feel the one most important thing is self-introspection here. Yes, you can aspire for collaborations, but you need to be very self-aware yourself. Coming towards you and moving towards the end of the show, so what would be your take-home advice to all the people who are watching today's show, that when it comes to successfully rehabilitating and of course successfully reintegrating oneself back into life, that to post such road traffic incidents, what is that people need to do? What kind of a mindset do they need to approach things with?
I mean, ideally, it's better not to be in a road traffic accident. Ideally. But if unfortunately you go through a trauma or tragedy, I think life just does not end over there. You can make a life for yourself, and I think in adversity we do discover resilience in ourselves. I mean,
so
like
true.
I have, and I've not let I've not let my disability define me, and I've chosen to raise my voice for to prevent road traffic accidents and to advocate for road safety. So my take-home message to everybody would be that you can make a life out of yourself, but please be very mindful of how you live your life. Obey the rules. They're there to save your life. There is not words on a paper, or it's just not an act or a legislation that the government is just passed to annoy you. It's there for you, for your safety, and we all need to collectively do our bit.
Definitely, because it is a shared responsibility, and then we also need more courageous people like yourself to come forward and take lead as well, because a lot of people might perhaps feel that they shouldn't be doing so. They might be judged, or they might be stigmatized for doing the same. Credit to you for leading such movements as well. Coming towards you, sir, and before we wrap up today's show, so when it comes to prevention, we all understand that of course prevention is better than cure. So what are the strategies, both in terms of policies and in terms of institutions generally, that we need to work upon so as to prevent such accidents from taking place?
You see, there are three components of traffic management in any urban center.
Right,
the
sir.
first and the foremost is traffic education, in which unfortunately we lack the most. Second is road engineering, which we sufficiently have. In the urban centers there is no issue of road engineering as such. And third is enforcement. Enforcement comes as a last tool to identify those 1 or 2% people who are breaking the law and who are taking law into their hands, just to put things right. But unfortunately in our country, due to lack of education, due to lack of road sense, due to absence of traffic related issues in the curriculum, the traffic education is lacking, and this I think is the core reason that we need to address.
Right.
We have brought one of the finest systems from China. We have installed them in Lahore. We have traffic wardens who are enforcing laws on the road. But controlling a city of 13 million, it's not an easy job,
Of
and
course.
that too with 3,000 wardens. So unless we make people aware of their own rights and rights of others on the road, I think this dream will not fulfill.
That's so true. And in this regard, we also definitely need to learn from other countries like Sweden, where we do understand that there are zero tolerance policies towards, road traffic accidents, where no loss of life is actually held to be tolerable. So we need to set precedents in that way too. So what, in your extensive experience, would you suggest would be the best practices that Pakistan can perhaps learn from internationally?
We have collaborated with China and with Turkey. We have exchanged programs. Our officers have gone there. They have obtained training. And one thing which the man was mentioning was the certainty of punishment. One, the fines should be such heavier that the cost of crime should be raised so much that it serves as a deterrent for an ordinary man.
Right.
He, deters to break the law. Because if you keep the fine as 200, 500 rupees,
Exactly.
for a person who is reasonable enough, it is not a big deal for them.
Of
So
course.
people are encouraged to break law again and again. So enhanced fines, enhanced education and equipment that we have, I think that will solve our problem.
On which I'll come to you, madam, and before we conclude today's show. So what would be your take-home message for the audience out there, especially when it comes to debunking so many myths which do surround traffic accidents as they do generally occur in the Pakistani society?
Yes, I think we need to revisit our thinking. We should not take accident will of God. That is because of our mistakes, our blunders, if we are not maintaining vehicles, if we are not taking care, if we are not vigilant, if we do not have road traffic sense, then accident occurs. And you are very dear to your home. Don't do it for us, but
you're very dear to yourself.
Yes,
too.
yes. So I
Start
think that for society it's very important. Everybody should know that life is very precious, and it's your responsibility as well, before the traffic and before the rescue and before any advocacy campaign, that you should take care of yourself. You are very important for your family and yourself as well. So accident always occur because of ourselves, and we are there and we should prevent these accidents.
All right, madam. On which note I would like to conclude today's show. Thank you so much, Sana. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, Ms. Diba Shahnaz, for your time today. Well, to conclude today's show, we generally spoke about the growing number of road traffic accidents in the Pakistani society. We also spoke about the fact that whereas, of course, we do have laws and policies in place to actually curb the same, what we do need to work upon very actively is effective implementation of the same. Something that we equally need to focus upon is educating the masses at large when it comes to having that right traffic sense. And last but not the least, something that we do need to prioritize as a society, something which will definitely make a big difference, is to understand the simple fact that when it comes to road safety merely should just not be taken as a slogan, rather it should be taken as a way of life. Thank you for watching The Society. Until next time, take care and Allah Hafiz.